Hello, gorgeous soul, and welcome to this epic podcast. This is a place where you are encouraged and you have absolute freaking permission to unapologetically go after all of your dreams, all of your visions, all of your things on your vision board, like everything that your heart desires. I'm your host, Angharad, the High Vibe Babe, and I believe that we're all in this life to expand and experience our wildest dreams. If one of us can have it, then we all can. So that is the aim of this podcast. Each week I'll either be going solo or have guests with the aim to inspire, uplift you and give you the tools for you to live your most epic AF life and business possible. You can find me on Instagram with the handle @HighVibeBabe. Now let's get into today's episode. Hello beauties, Angharad here, High Vibe Babe. I had this epiphany today and I was speaking with my husband and I've been really sitting with this for a little while and I really wanted to share this with you actually because who here has heard that love is a verb? Verb meaning a doing word, right? It's like something that we do. It's an action. It's a living, breathing thing. Love is not something that just sits there. It's a living organism. It breathes and it moves and it has its own thing. And we love someone, so we put up with their stuff, and we love someone, so we support them through their depression, and we love like our partners through their good times, their bad times, the essence of marriage, right? Till death do us part. What's that thing? Sickness and health, right? You know, all those sorts of things. That it's a thing that we do. It's a thing that we do, right? But when we reflect back to the beginning of our relationship, right, or any past relationship you've had, what actually happens is when we first meet someone, there's a whole lot of hormones flying around, right? Of course there is. And we don't actually fall in love with the person. We actually fall in love with the way they make us feel about us. That's what love actually is in the beginning. And what happens through a 10-year marriage, for instance, in my case, just about 10 years, my husband and I have been married, what happens is you get busy. You have kids, you start businesses, you have intense careers, you have rough times, and love ends up being a verb. It ends up being sacrificing. It can end up being people pleasing. It can end up being like not being too intense. It can end up being like doing the housework instead of like your business. It can end up being so many different things instead of the initial thing, which is them making you feel special inside about you. And that's really the reason why our relationships can become not so fun anymore, because things are happening in our lives and we're busy trying to please the other person. It becomes out of this like scarcity, it becomes out of lack, it becomes out of fear of losing, it becomes out of fear of their life not being so good, of our life not being so good, if I need to do this so that they don't lose it, or I better do this so that it's better, I just know it's going to go better, our day's going to go smoother, I do all these things, right? So it becomes a verb. But are you doing it out of love? Are you doing it because you truly enjoy it? Or are you doing it because you want to please the other person? And something that my husband and I have been navigating this year is actually a separation. Not necessarily a actual separation where we break up, but what we did is when we got married, when we got together, everything, and because we also started businesses so young, we've been working together within our own business since we were 21, right? So we've been entrepreneurs since 21, then fully self-employed since 23. So our business, like I am the accountant, he's the doer, I do a bit of the doing, he does a little bit of the, we literally have lived and worked together for the last however many years that is. I can't count. 7 years, is that right? Whatever it is, right? Everything's become very intertwined, and then like the passions we used to have, you start like being like, oh, I can't go with my girlfriends because then he's got to have the kids. There's so many things that come up, and what we did is we merged everything like this. Every single thing about us all became like this, all entangled, right? But we realized that we weren't fulfilled. We realized that we weren't making each other happy. We realized that we were doing things out of just because this is the way it is. We just, the beliefs that we created from religion, from parents, from other people, from conditioning, we'd conditioned ourselves that this is the way a marriage goes, and this is the best way forward. But what we've really been navigating is that actually that's not what it looks like for us. That's not the version of our happiness could be. And so we've really been diving deep into masculine and feminine energy and really allowing the other person to create their reality, because what happens is when one person's down, and one person's up, then often the person who's up feels like they need to dull their shine. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like you can't be too intense, you can't be too happy, you can't be the high vibe babe that you know you are on the inside, or that you are at work, or that you are with your kids, because you don't want them to feel less, you don't want them to feel lack, you don't want to trigger them, you don't want them to feel uncomfortable in your energy? Have you felt like this? Have you ever felt like this, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship relationship, where you can't be your true authentic self because you don't want to trigger them, you don't want to hurt them, right? But through that process, we lose a bit of ourselves, because we're not honoring ourselves, we aren't being authentic to ourselves, we aren't following our passions and what really lights us up. And so the thing we've been really working on is allowing the other person to create their reality, and that might involve buying a road bike, literally in our case. And I never wanted my husband to buy a road bike because it was so dangerous. While we have young kids, I was like, nope, you can have a dirt bike, because I mean that you can still kill yourself in dirt bikes, but whatever. No car's going to mow you and not look and see you, right? There's so many motorbikes that have accidents, right? The statistics are horrible. And so I was always like, no. I just, while we have young kids, I don't want to have to raise kids by myself. And that's my fear, right? Because I grew up without a father, because my father passed when I was 7. It was cancer, not from a road bike. But, you know, like my whole family, we dealt with that loss of losing our father. And I projected that onto this motorbike. And it's through this last year of really discovering who I am and allowing him to discover who he is. It was a desire he had. And so I allowed him to create his own reality. And I believe in divine timing. And I believe that we're all being guided. And I believe that when we truly can let go of the things that we're not happy with this other person, or the things that aren't quite as great, I can't think of the word, aren't quite as great as we could plan, or as that we would like to, you know, this controlling thing. Like, I have a control issue. I'm not going to lie about it. It's something that I've kind of always been a victim, or not been a victim about, kind of been a victim about controlling, to be honest. This need to like do it my way, this need to, I know best, right? But I don't know. You don't know what's best for your partner, because as much as you think you know what's best for them, you aren't allowing them to create their reality. You aren't allowing them to create their vision. You aren't allowing them to live out their desires. And we honestly, you know, virtual reality games, right? I've never played one. I've seen them on TVs. They put the goggles on, they go and like, I don't know, shoot people, whatever they do, I don't know. And they take for an hour, and they take them off and come back and walk around and talk to the kids and make dinner and come back to real life, right? Virtual reality is where you're in it for a certain amount of time and then you come back to your real life. Well, this life is kind of like that, because I believe that we're a spiritual being, and after this we go to heaven, we go to a different life, whatever you believe, right? If you believe that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, this is actually a virtual reality, because we aren't here forever, which means also that we have the creative power to, and you would know this from your life, we have the creative power to do what we want. We can start the business if we want to, or we could equally sit here and not start it, right? But this is our virtual reality, because we're not here forever. So we are here to create, to learn, to grow, to have fun, to have pleasure, to feel our emotions, to experience the world, whatever it is that you truly desire to do. That is your right. It is your permission. You have full permission to go and do those things. But while we're trying to cage someone else in, or while we're trying to, or if we feel caged, while we're trying to conform to other people's normalities, other people's beliefs, our partner's desires, we aren't allowing ourselves to be authentically ourselves. We aren't allowing ourselves to expand and do the things we desire. So we sit with this kind of people-pleasing love verb situation, right? And the opposite of that is, no matter what, giving the other person permission internally in your own world for them to do what they desire. And what happens is they go and buy the road bike, they start the business, they go and invest in themselves, or like whatever it is that they're desiring, and then they become lit up because they're having fun. They're fulfilling their desires. They're feeling alignment. They trust themselves in their decisions, whether it works out perfectly or whether it doesn't. Everything is a lesson. They're growing and evolving and enjoying their virtual reality game, which then overflows into your marriage, into your life, into their parenting styles, right? And this is really the journey that I've been on over the last few years, like the self-love thing, right? I talk about this quite a bit. As a parent, I always put myself last because I'm like, they need me more than I need me, and I'll just take the little scraps. But when I change the narrative that I deserve to be the happiest that I ever can, what I did is I started filling my jug. My jug became so damn full and it overflowed into everyone around me, and I'm magnetic and happy and vibrant and lean into my trust in the times that I'm with my cycle, or the times that I'm lose someone I love, like my dog or a friend or a family member, right? We feel into those and we allow ourselves to experience this essentially virtual reality game at the way that best serves us. And then we come back and everyone still flourishes because we're serving ourselves best every single time. And this is the reason why I really ultimately ended up with postnatal depression / lifelong depression and anxiety, is because I wasn't listening to my internal talking. I wasn't listening to my intuition. I wasn't serving myself, and I became unfulfilled, and I became desperately sad, like my book, Desperate to Determined. I really document the really tangible things that I went through and that I implemented in my life to shift out of that desperate place, to shift out of that bottom of the hole to like a place where I'm determined to chasing my version of happiness. So this is my encouragement to you, to go and do that and to allow everyone around you to do the same, because, and it always starts with us, right? We lead ourselves first and everyone else follows. That is, you always go first. Leaders go first and everyone else follows. And it's just been beautiful to see this transformation within my life in every single way. And I hope you have a great, great day. Bye. If you have enjoyed this episode, I would adore if you would screenshot it, chuck it up on your stories with your favorite takeaway moment, and tag me at Hi Vibe Babe on Instagram so that more people can see this and get this content and get this message out there to really shape and change and impact other people's lives. Do you desire to be around more high vibe women who really get you, who encourage you, who like support you no matter what? Yeah, well, guess what? I have a place that you belong. It is called High Vibe Babes Community. It is a free Facebook group, and I would love to have you in there. There are so many free trainings and epicness in this group, so please get your booty in there. It would mean the world if you would subscribe to this podcast, do the reviews, the rating, the stars, all of the things. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to chat with you on the next episode. I'm sending you all of the vibes and all of the love. Over and out from Angharad, the High Vibe Babe.